Hello, everyone. Back here on this Monday, Restoring the Village Project RTV Radio Show on the Radio on Fire broadcast. We are here again with just trying to highlight some great things and great people in the community. Last week, we kind of relaunched our show, and we're so happy that you're tuning in and that you are just supporting us with everything. We thank you for contacting us and just saying how much you appreciate this show. We want to continue to make sure this is a show that's going to be community driven, and that we're going to continue to highlight grassroots organizers and community organizations that are doing things in our community. Last week in our intro, Brother Nance and we were talking about how this is Women's History Month, right? But today is International Women's Day, and I thought it would be just ideal to continue to just highlight and spotlight and acknowledge and recognize some women that are doing great things in our community. This past Saturday, we participated in a women's walk. Shout out to all the men that were there to support us and to protect us and just to be by our side. So the women's walk was organized by W.H.E.W, which stands for Women Helping to Empower Women. So what other way to do this other than on International Women's Day? Right. Organizers are Adonna Black, Dorothy Adonna, and Brooklyn Neverdon. And we just wanted to say thank you for being here, for one, and two, for all the things you're doing. And we hope to get, more ways that we can support you, and also just to highlight, the feel and the gist of Saturday that just passed. So thank you, Adonna and Brooklyn, for being here on this evening. How are you ladies today?
So is Brooklyn Neverdon, is that my brother PFK Boom daughter?
Yes.
Okay, awesome.
So how are you all, Adonna and Brooklyn? How are you today?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling really
And please introduce yourselves to the world. I don't want to miss anything, so I'm giving you this moment just to introduce yourself to everyone.
Go ahead.
My name is Brooklyn Hairston Neverdon. I am a youth advocate. I have my own business. I also am a brand ambassador. And yeah, I basically just speak for the youth. That's why I'm always on the run. I just came from modeling. But yeah.
Yeah, salute, Brooklyn. I have a lot of respect and love for your father. That's one of my favorite brothers in Baltimore. You know what I mean? One of the frontliners that I overly respect. So salute to all the work that you're doing, and salute that your family's doing in our community.
Thank you so much.
And Adonna, did you want to introduce yourself formally? Oh, you're on mute.
You're on mute.
Okay. So first, I want to introduce myself as Adonna Black, the hip hop artist, because that's how a lot of people came to know.
That's why I didn't want to miss anything. I said,
hey yo, Adonna, she one of the hardest rappers to ever come out of Baltimore.
No, well, she need to do something tonight.
Like, straight up, men and women, like straight up, like she can rap for real.
I need to hear that tonight too, Adonna. Go ahead.
I got you.
Like for real, like Adonna dope, like seriously.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Man, she ain't paid me to say that. She ain't paid me to say that either.
Yeah, I slid him a couple G's before we got in here. Told him to talk me up real good. Say no, that's my king from back in the day. Like we go way back, like Thundercats and bubblegum tats. You hear me?
Yeah, she old school.
What's going on? And look, I'm enjoying his juices and all that stuff. Yeah, all that. I'm down. We were at the black party last time. Remember Park Heights?
Absolutely.
Anyway, I'm sorry, but like I got
my bad. Then when you're
he does this to everyone.
Hold on, real quick though, and I'm gonna let Adonna introduce herself because I want her to fully introduce herself. But since COVID, you don't really get to see people that you really care about. You know what I mean? Like, although we haven't seen each other in years, the energy is always the same when we saw each other yesterday. So I just wanted to give her flowers while she was here. Happy International Women's Month to all.
Don't make me cry.
I'm just keeping it real. though. I don't mean to cut you off. So formally introduce yourself, my sister. But I just wanted to give you your flowers while you were here, because I appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate you too, King. And we need our kings. That's one of the campaigns I push too on my Facebook page. Because we can empower ourselves as women. So I am the founder of W.H.E.W. It's a movement that we just begun. The call was put out there by W.H.E.W, and she's one of the matriarchs in our community. And she always goes live and drops her wisdom and her wisdom nuggets on her page on Facebook. And I was tuning into one of her lives, and she was like, man, I want to bring 3,000 women together, and it's time for us to get together. It's time for us to step up. And I just took the call. I was like, let's go, let's do it. What do you want to do? You know, so I was like, let's do it. We threw a flyer together, and when I got hung up with her, I was like, woo, yeah, let's go. Then the Holy Spirit just dropped it right in my spirit, like, oh yeah, woo, okay, let's do that. Okay. And I mean, because I got, I'm an artist, so I got bars, I like picking up stuff. So Woo came from women helping to empower women. That came from my artist inside, And then we said, how can we make this work and just hit the ground running? I reached out to my brother Andrew, who is one of the leaders of the We Are Us movement for the Kings. And I'm like, they've already been doing this stuff. They're not new to this, they're true to this. So I'm gonna reach out to somebody who's already done this, and let's see how we can organize like the men, get ourselves together. We got a lot of work to do, and it's going to take all of us, all hands on deck, and stay together. You know what I mean? So I reached out to him, and he was like, no problem. No, he was like, say no more. I was like, I mean, can y'all walk with us? Can y'all just protect us and like be there with us? Like, we need y'all. And he was like, say no more. And they jumped right in and did so much to help us. And the women came and showed up, and we walked and we chanted and we sang and we. Oh yes, it was
beautiful. It was
the women came and braved the cold, and I got my feelings at one point, because I was like, they leaving, they need to stay for everybody to speak. But at the end of the day, I didn't realize how cold it was, because my adrenaline was up on 100 the whole time. So everybody was like, it was cold out there. I was like, I must have been pumped up, because I didn't feel any cold at all. So I was like, okay, maybe I was being a little insensitive, but I'm shout out and much love to everyone who showed up and walked with us.
Andrew,
and blew their horns, who went live.
Yes,
just all the.
It was a beautiful feeling, walking and having people come outside and like clapping and chanting and just enjoying that moment. And I don't want to say enjoying, but still to see people come, to see the women and the men come together and the women lead in this walk. It was just truly amazing. But I think that's the highlight that I got out of it, is not only bringing these organizations together, but the energy from the neighborhood, the energy from the people. That was just outside.
That's the most important part. That's the most important part. That's the most important part, is the energy from the people in the community, because unfortunately, I'm sorry I wasn't able to make it, but I'm pretty sure it was powerful. Salute to Captain Andrew. He's definitely another one of the frontliners that I respect, that do it the correct way. And so, although I may not be there physically, I'm always there in spirit and energy. So to hear it went very successful, that's a blessing. But again, like you just said, Adonna, like, we have to make sure that, the residents, engaged, or the residents feel like it was something for them, So, Angie, may I ask questions now, or are you kind of
sure? Go ahead.
Let me see Angie's face, Diamond Cake, because I don't like just looking at my face. I need to see Angie's face when I ask her. Like, straight up. No, I just want to ask a question, because I feel like, it's Women's History Month, and and I wouldn't be who I am if it wasn't for the women that raised me. You know what I mean? My grandmother, my mother, various educators, with a few Babas, but mostly women that helped me develop the energy that I bring to the world. So my question is, like, I feel like women been holding it down for so long. Like, how are the women, how is this women movement encouraging, bringing our households back together and level, not bringing our households back together far as man and woman, but far as the respect energy? You know what I mean? How are we doing that?
Well, that's what we wanted to display. I think deep down in my heart, and even with Miss Dorothy, and even with Brooklyn, because she's young, she's representing the teenage community and her age group and her dad. So we have families out here, and we are getting back to the place where we rebuild our village. It's not about biological blood, and it never was about biological blood in our communities growing up. I had a picture of my great grandmother out there blown up walking. My sister was holding it, and I'm like, we got to get back to the way they did things, and it wasn't about biological bloodlines. It was about community bloodlines. Like, if you're in my community, you're my family. That's it. That's all. And it wasn't too much to that. So the men look out for the children, and the men look out for the women look out for the children, and then it's all one big circle, right?
Exactly.
You agree with that, Brooklyn?
No, go ahead, Brooklyn.
Yes, I definitely do agree with that. It's not just about, like, it doesn't matter if you're family or if you're not. Everybody can. A lot of people don't have families, so they rely on other people, and that's what we're here for, is to help people who don't really have that at home.
You know what's so crazy? And I'm glad both of y'all said that, because, like I said, my dad died when I was 10, and if it wasn't for the community, the Babas, the mothers in the community to raise me, like, that is very important. Because honestly, you're supposed to Diamond K. I don't want to look at myself, Diamond K. I want to see everybody. Diamond K. All right, thank you.
I'm gonna switch the camera angles as people talk. You just keep talking and let me.
My bad, I need to see my friends. You know what I mean? But anyway,
the best way to not have a camera on yourself is don't talk.
Me, yo, like Diamond K. It made me feel like I was doing a Facebook Live, so I just want, I want to see my friends. But anyway, maybe leave my train of thought, Diamond K. But
that's why you muted again. So anyway, so Brooklyn, I would love to hear just more from you. Like, what really motivate you to want to be involved with this movement, or to even want to encourage your peers or others? Because you're not just your peers, you're motivating a lot of women. So what's your drive and your motivation?
Basically, I see like how the youth, like how the youth are reacting to things. Basically, how I see how my age, like, basically how we're acting and how we're very unhappy. So it makes me want to, like, help other people, because a lot of people don't have the support that I may have at home. A lot of people don't have mothers. A lot of people don't have fathers. So it's important that we, even though I might not be your biological sister, or I might not be your biological cousin or something like that, I could still help you out, because at the end of the day, it takes a village. You can't handle everything, and a lot of people are so like, I want to be so independent, but that is kind of impossible.
Yeah, that's not real. That's not real.
Put, like, a lot of stress on yourself, it's overwhelming. Stuff gets overwhelming.
Absolutely.
That's my problem sometimes too. I tend to, like,
absolutely
put a lot on myself when I realize, like, I cannot just do this by myself. So that's why it's important for people to have different outlets, because a lot of people don't have that at home.
Yeah, and you know what? And you know what? And you know what's so crazy, Brooklyn? We are Black people, so we are tribal people. So we thrive in tribes. Like, we don't thrive in silos. You know what I mean? So I salute you and commend you for doing that. You know what I mean? And making safe space for people. You know.
Thank you.
So if anybody who haven't really followed our show, I just want to highlight that Brooklyn. So I heard her at the Women's Walk near the end when she was speaking. And how old are you, Brooklyn? Just tell everybody.
I am 15.
She's 15, right? She came on my show. You was probably 13, because that was almost 2 years ago.
Yeah,
and
I think I was 12. I think I was 12. Yes, I was 12. I remember I turned 13.
He spoke knowledge then, and even more powerful this past Saturday. And I know that you would be a great asset to building, because that's what you're doing. I'm sure Saturday was just your awareness and building, and now we're going to be building more and more women to be involved in this movement and continuing. And for me to assume that was going to be an additional walks. Can you just let us know what you can probably get from WU going forward? Like, what are your plans and your objectives and your mission?
Well, I am starting my business. It's called the Nayari Collection. I'll be coming out with like a lot of nice little spring wear, lashes. I know everybody likes to wear their lashes. I'm working on selling hair also, and basically my own clothing. I also have an event that is the 27th. I'll let everyone know more once the date. Once I get more information, it's for the youth. If you're a young person like I am and you have your own business, you can come out. More people means more clientele, so start investing in yourselves so you can. We all trying to get money, basically. Everyone wants to be so independent. Well, just step to doing that to get the things
and keeping it proper in the community, right?
Yes, this is also a good cause for the community, because once people see like, oh, if she could do it, I could do it. A lot of more people will come. A lot of more people will be more attracted to what I'm doing, because a lot of people aren't really thinking. People my age, it's not a lot of people that's really thinking how I think. It's not really a lot. And your average 15-year-olds most likely not thinking about starting their own business.
I'm telling you, they're not.
Or doing what I'm doing. So yeah, once they say that I can do it, I basically just do it so everybody else can be like, I can do it also. Because I live in this generation. I know how everyone's thinking. I know.
Look at you. Oh, and she was on that mic. She was on that mic. What you saying? What you were chanting, Brooklyn?
On Saturday?
Yeah, she was with that mic.
I was telling them how, because like people, it's really sad, because I really be seeing how like kids are, how parents are towards them. Like a lot of these kids really have no guidance at home, and then everyone's always wondering like, why are you like this? Like, why are you doing this? But what did you expect? You did not, like, you can't. A child has to have guidance. There's no way you can just be like, oh, I know how to do this. I know how to do it. Has to be some type of guidance. And it's not
let me ask you a question, Brooklyn. So do you feel like unhealed adults are the cause of the destruction of the youth?
Yes, because honestly, karma is real. I feel like the karma that our parents had passed on to us. Like, I feel that. I tell my mom that all the time. Like, whatever wrong things they did in that time is coming back down on us, because it is ridiculous. Like, half of my generation is dead. Like,
and how old are you, Brooklyn?
I'm 15.
So you 15, and for you to say half of your generation is dead, that shit is sad. You know what I mean? To be honest with you, you know what I mean? Like, and so my point, I guess my question to you is, like I said, unhealed adults and brothers and sisters not stepping up and doing what they need to do. That was my original question. Like, women been showing up for years. You know what I mean? Women been showing up for years. Like, the women have been showing up, but I think that we have to understand the importance of the men voice. You know what I mean? Like, it's very important. It's not about just men's stature. It's men voice. You know what I mean? And that's very important. So I agree with you. I'm glad that you're spreading your light, because you're fortunate to have a mother and a father. You know what I mean? And you didn't just be content with them, but like, you know what? Let me spread this energy out to those that don't have it. You know what I mean? And it takes a lot to do that. So salute to you on that. But my next question to both of y'all is like, what do you see as like the biggest challenge with us closing the generational gap on the respect aspect?
Can you elaborate?
So, for example, like most young people, me and young people, we get along well. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not like the rest of these older brothers and sisters out here. I love young people, so I don't have that challenge. But why do you think young people are so disconnected from the elders? Like, why do you think young people are so rebellious against information to help them better?
Because my 15 is not your 15.
Right.
How you was back in the day is not how I am now. And adults, everyone, adults like to get the last word. I
Yeah,
don't care how you put it. So, and it's like they don't
Well, I'm being
understand. They really don't understand what we're trying to say.
So
Like,
what is your so Brooklyn? What is y'all 15? What is your 15?
Hey,
what,
Brooklyn, you just said it. You just said it. He's still trying to get the last word.
no, I'm not.
I'm
Angie,
not.
no,
I'm
Brooklyn.
not
What is your 15? What does your 15 look like in this new world we live in with COVID? Forget the COVID part, but just 15 as a young black human in the world. What that look like?
Okay. So my 15, okay. No lie. Half like not really because I can't call them friends because they really weren't my friends. But half of my associates are dead. Not saying that back in your day, you probably don't have a couple friends that's dead, but like my whole generation, like someone is wiped down every day. Like today, somebody that I knew died today.
Damn.
So,
See, I wasn't dealing with death. See, y'all dealing with way more death than I dealt with.
That's what I'm saying.
I ain't gonna lie. I ain't deal with that much death, yo. I ain't start dealing with death till later.
I'm not trying to say like, oh, you didn't go through this, man, so you don't get it. But like, I be trying to tell my mother like, what this generation going through way more than what I feel like my mother generation went through. Because I can't say my grandma, because my grandmother that was a whole different breed right there.
So let me ask you a question. So do you feel like parents need to be more emotionally available to you guys? You know what I mean? Because we think that, because you just said your 15 is different than my 15. Your 15 is filled with death and this and that. My 15 wasn't filled with that. Like I was like getting cuts on running down the hill when, you know what I mean? Like I was doing 15-year-old like childhood stuff, you know what I mean? So it's like, so do you think the adults are not emotionally available for their children at this point?
Yes, I feel that way because if your child is not comfortable with talking to you about anything, that's a problem. That is a problem because kids my age, you got kids. Basically, a lot of kids in my generation are pregnant at my age, even at 13, pregnant.
Yeah.
So then half the young boys, they out here selling weed on the block at 13. Don't even really know what's going on, but they know that they block hugging, as we would say. It's like if your child can't talk to you about anything, if adults were more emotionally and spiritually available for children, half of what is going on right now.
And I was gonna say, Adonna, we about to So listen, wait a minute. So Brooklyn made a great point when she said about the village, and I want to bring in, just kind of leap back over to Adonna. Adonna is she's part of your village. Yeah. And it's so great to see, her pulling you in and trying to guide you. I always used to say that I wish there was someone like myself, like there was an Angie Winder when I was growing up. And so Adonna, and Dorothy and every other woman that plays a part in being your village, I commend you. And I want to just kind of ask Adonna, like just hearing Brooklyn just talk about, her generation, like what are some things that WHE can actually do to not only empower our women, because that's what it's, it says women helping to empower women, but to also help and nurture our young generation, our youth. I'm sure that you have some plans going forward, but what are your thoughts on how or how she's expressed that?
So number one, I'm so proud of Brooklyn. Oh my gosh! Like every time she speaks,
that's why I just let her talk fast. I'm proud.
My heart beats so fast, and like I'm just like, oh my gosh! Like I'ma just say, we were intentional as it pertains to bringing certain leadership together for this movement. Miss Dorothy made the call. She is our matriarch generation. Then I came behind her, and then I spoke to PK, and he mentioned his daughter, and I was like, oh, definitely, definitely we need baby girl on board. But I had no idea what I was in store for when I met and we first talked. I was like, whoa, okay, check this out. This is how we're going to empower her, right? This is how we're going to empower one another. We're going to make sure that she has a voice. We're going to make sure that her voice is heard to her generation as much as we possibly can. Secondly, I think because I've worked in juvenile services in Baltimore since 1999 on the professional side, I've worked in juvenile services. I've worked at the juvenile detention centers. I've worked in recovery programs. I've worked in transitional housing. I've worked in homeless services. You name it for youth.
Prepared
So
you.
I talk to young people all the time. I hear from young people all the time, and their main cry is just that: is there is a disconnect. And I've been trying to figure out like what can I do to try to bridge the gap, because like Nance said, he works with youth all the time. So we don't have that problem with connecting with the young people. But every time I ask the young people, why y'all act so funny? You know, when you have to build rapport when it comes to young people, and they have to trust you. And I think it's a lack of trust in our communities between the generations. The older people don't trust the young people don't trust the older people. And we have to rebuild that trust. And rebuilding that trust really just starts with a simple conversation of, good afternoon, young lady. Good afternoon, young man. You know, I see how people our age or our age groups and generations, and even those before us, I watch them all the time when there is a group of young people walking up the street, how they react. Sometimes they don't even look at the young people. They won't even acknowledge their presence. Sometimes they, just walk on the other side of the street. It's like, because you see a group of young people doesn't mean they're out about to get in trouble or about to start trouble. Like, how about greet them when they're coming your way, acknowledge them, because our young people just want to be acknowledged. That's all.
You know what? I can over agree with that. I can over agree with that, because no matter where I'm at, I always make sure any just black person, young, old, or whatever, any black person, any human being, I speak period. Peace, how you doing? Peace, how you doing? Whatever. And if they don't, my mother always told me, as long as you do that, you did your part. If they don't respond back, that's on them.
That's another thing. It's a lot of everyone has to. That's another thing. I see it all the time. If you see a group of young boys standing on the corner, that don't mean they doing that. They probably that's probably where they're linking up to go have fun.
Right.
And then that's another thing. I'm not a judgmental person. When I'm with people, I tell them, like, who are you to judge when you're not even doing right yourself? Right. And that's a big problem. A lot of people are so quick to judge the youth. Like, okay, I understand we're not doing what we're supposed to do. I understand that, but like I said, it's guidance that needed. That's needed. Like, we need more guidance, and it's a thing with trust. Like this. Everyone.
Let me ask you a question. But let me ask you a question in Brooklyn. So let me ask you a question. So had you not had the two parents that you have, do you think that you would be self-motivated the way you are currently?
See, I don't think so.
And why would you say that? I'm just curious on why would you say that? That's why I asked that question.
I say this because it all starts at home, they say. And that is very true. If my mother was the way she is, I don't think I would be the way that I am. So I could feed off of that and learn.
Nice.
Now we had a comment in the chat. I was going to say, we had a comment in the chat from Sansa Ray Davis. Thank you for tuning in. I'm not sure exactly what comment she was, but she did say something about it could be a personal or parenting problem. So I'm assuming that, it's all entwined with that. And again, thank you to everyone that is tuned in. I'm sorry, Donna, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to piggyback on what Brooklyn was saying. And yes, thank you, listener, for that comment, because it's so true. It's very important. It does start at home, but we have to understand we live in a society where there are a lot of single parents and so broken homes. Yes. And so we have a lot of single parents out, mothers, fathers who are raising children, multiple children, in some cases by themselves, and they have to work. And so a lot of the children get lost in translation between the parent having to go out and go to work and support them and keep a roof over their head and make sure that they have what they need. And so that's where the community comes in. That's where the village comes in. And I believe, this is just my personal belief, I believe we dropped the ball. We dropped the ball about the village stuff, because I've heard people say things like, that's your child. That's not my child. So you deal with that. or a parent is crying out for help and they're saying, well, nobody told you to have all of those kids. It's a single mom who has 5 children, and they're like, well, ain't nobody tell you to sit and have all those kids. The kids are here. The children are here. We are not going to blame the children for being here. Like,
yes,
we didn't ask to be here.
They don't raise themselves. So the generation and the way our generation, the older generation that wants to shake their heads and look down at the young people and say, they off the hook, they off the chain. Who raised them?
Honestly,
Yeah.
people don't understand is, to be honest with you, is once you have children with someone, you are now related. Period. You know what I mean? Like, you're related. And think about before you had that child. We all have family members that we don't like, but we love them.
Let them babies go.
You may not like the shit that they do, but we love them.
Mm-hmm.
But see, to me, it's a maturity, or I'm going to use my homeboy's word, a maturation. It's a maturation issue where we haven't fully grown up ourselves. And so we pass that immaturity down to our children. And because we want our children to be more adult than we are.
That's another thing.
I was going to say
yes. Unhealed adults is dangerous to our community. Unhealed adults are dangerous to our children. And I'm speaking from experience. Like, I didn't realize, luckily, I was able to understand where I was at, but I didn't realize that I was pushing shit onto my son. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't even know. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh shit. And he's like, I listened to him, was like, oh, I heard him, like, yo, damn, I didn't even know I was doing that. And I consider myself a good person. You know what I mean?
But it takes a village, man. Listen, look, when you are raising a child in a village, that's why I keep pushing the village thing. I'm going to keep pushing it.
Come on now.
Because when you're in a village, someone in your village should be paying enough attention to you and your son to say to you, let me holler at you for a minute, King, so I'm noticing that, this is happening or that is happening, or your son looks a little this, or I spoke to him the other day. We don't have enough support for our children, and our babies and I feel kind of safe speaking. And Brooklyn, if I'm saying anything wrong, please cut me off, because I'm a youth advocate, but who better to advocate for you but yourself? But I've been advocating for young people for a long time, and it seems like to me, from what I've been seeing, that our young people, they feel like, no one cares. And so, like, that's the first thing I hear is, I don't give a I don't give a fuck, and I'm like, why do you always say that? And they're like, don't nobody care about me. I don't care about nobody else.
Go ahead, Brooklyn. You can say the
comment that I want to.
Go ahead, Brooklyn.
Answer. Can you guys still see me?
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
It says, the comment says, oh, I can't.
Yeah, she was talking about when is Brooklyn. Me and you on the same page, Brooklyn. Hey, Brooklyn, me and you on the same page. She was like,
so I'm gonna say what the comment says.
So she was like, when is it okay or whatever for the teenager to take ownership? Right from wrong, accountability. Right?
That's what it say right there.
All right, go ahead, Brooklyn.
So it says, regardless of parents being there or not, are we to hold teams accountable for no right? Okay. Hold on. A lot of kids don't.
All right, hold on.
Yes, Brooklyn. Yes, Brooklyn.
Let's read that question out loud for the people that are listening on Apple, and they're not going to be able to see it.
Okay.
The comment says, well, answer me this. At what age, regardless of parents being there or not, are we to hold teens accountable for knowing right from wrong?
Go ahead, Brooklyn. Bust him in the head, Brooklyn. Bust him.
You know what? I want to say that this question, I think we all should be able to answer. So if you can take a minute or two, no more than that, to answer. And I think if we all can answer that. And Brooklyn, can you go first?
I honestly feel like if you didn't have guidance at home, regardless however old you are, it's gonna be hard. Like, trying to decision make, like, all this stuff starts from home. Like, you're not gonna really know what to do if you grow up, no mother, no father, your grandparents raising you. Most likely they're about to pass away, so you're getting a lot of leeway, because I see it all the time. It's not. No, I really feel like you're not gonna
be able to make a lot of good decisions if you don't have good guidance in your household, because a lot of these kids do not know what they're doing.
And Adonna, you want to answer that question?
Yes, I completely agree with Brooklyn, but I hear that mom saying what age, regardless of parents being there or not, are we to hold teens accountable for knowing right from wrong? We all know right from wrong. All of us have been taught right from wrong, from adults to the elderly in the community, and the seniors in the community, our matriarchs, patriarchs, and the young people. We all know right from wrong. However, we all do wrong things in our community, and we all make mistakes, make bad choices, make bad calls in our community. Even as adults, we all know right from wrong, but we still do things wrong. I think it's an accountability issue across the board. I think the adults are not being held accountable. The elderly, seniors are not being held accountable, and the young people are not being held accountable. And this is why we want to move forward in rebuilding the village, because the village is what holds us all accountable. When we have a village mentality, we don't just put it on the children knowing right from wrong. But if mom is not there, then my neighbor is there, or the lady up the street, or the man down the street. We all holding one another accountable. If we see mom not treating those children right, we can pull mom up and say, hey, mom, let's speak to you for a second. We're not telling you how to parent, but we're telling you what we see from the outside looking in. We just need different perspectives and different levels of accountability. Everyone needs to be held accountable, from the parents down to the children.
Adonna, that was amazing.
Can I add on really quickly, please?
Go ahead. I was just going to say Adonna kind of took mine, go ahead.
And another thing is, okay, say, and we're in a situation like, you don't have a mother, your mother walked out on you, your father also walked out on you, but you're still surrounded by negativity. I really feel like you're gonna turn out, it's not gonna be a good outcome, because okay, it's 5% you might have your own mind like, okay, this is not what I should be doing. It's not a lot of people that think like that. If you're still, it is true, you are what you hang around. So if you hang around people who are always outside, always selling drugs, doing this, that, and the third, what you think you're gonna grow up to do? Like, if it's no guidance, you're not gonna turn out right.
So Brooklyn, let me ask you a question. How much do you think the music influenced?
No, brother Nance. Everybody's supposed to answer this question.
You know what? Go ahead.
Everybody's supposed to answer this question. Are you gonna answer it?
Answer that question. I want to go to the next question. I don't need.
Wait, hold on, because I didn't answer. So I want to say that I agree with Adonna with saying that we all should be held accountable about, basically, certain teams. So I wouldn't put an age on something on somebody that is doing wrong, because at the end of the day, who are we to judge, first of all? But second is, we're looking at children and teens that are in broken homes. And some are homeless. I mean, diving deeper, it is so many factors about why people are choosing certain roads. And though they know that this is not right, and they may even know the consequence behind it, it's more so, how do I need my family to eat? I need to eat. And XYZ. So I never want to be judgmental on holding them accountable. But I think anyone who goes by and not even want to do anything, I think we're all held accountable to do something. Yeah. And, so I just say, I really agree with Adonna with that. And even with Brooklyn, I understand, like, I never want to make anyone feel like we're all just down with downing our teenagers, because we were once there, and things wasn't peachy in our thing. We did some things that we're not happy about, and we want people to know, like, do better, be better.
Though it was a different wave of energy, like
different. Well, for you, that was my answer. I don't think it was a different wave. I seen the same thing. People getting shot and killed during my era, the drug world. Nothing. Everything. At the
rate at which it is right now, I mean, I'm talking about
everything, the homicide, everything. The only thing that's heightened is that social media puts a light on what's going on. The things that happened was in the 90s to 2000. I've lost plenty of friends when I was younger, and it's the same. I mean, you may not have seen it, but I'm telling you what I've seen.
Let me present a question to the panel.
Yeah, please answer. I want everybody to.
Okay, so the question said, again, answer this: at what age, regardless of parents, parents being there or not, are we to hold teens accountable for knowing right from wrong?
And
right?
again, that goes.
And I think it depends
Go ahead.
because, of course, we all were teenagers before. And I think that this is a very pro teenager panel.
But I
want to look at this objectively. So if someone, like the question said, regardless of whether their parent was there or not, at what point do we hold them accountable for those actions? If a 13-year-old, regardless of whether he had a parent or not, goes out and takes someone's life, do we hold that child accountable? Or we say he's too young, he's only 13. So then at 16, if he takes someone's life, do we hold this child accountable? We say, no, he didn't have a father. We wait until he's 18. Like, I don't think we really answered this question.
I mean, can I?
This is a question you said you wanted to skip, so now you want to come back.
He did.
Okay, you come back to it.
Because, I mean, the conversation got a little rich, you know what I mean? So, because I don't feel because I agree with Brooklyn. Like, if you're not shown right from wrong, you know what I mean? Like, what right from wrong is an idea. Yes, I know right from wrong, but I was around. I grew up in a different Baltimore, like I said. And the Baltimore I grew up in, we had community. Now the Baltimore is, I have an address. I don't even know my neighbors, their kids. I don't even know your name. It's a whole different wave. You know what I mean? So I learned accountability. And mind you, my dad died when I was 10. So I learned accountability by the people in the neighborhood that I was raised up in. You know what I mean? So if you got people feeling like they're on their own, a lot of these young people feel like they're in the world by themselves. You know what I mean? And you got adults that can't even handle the world by themselves. So how you expect a kid to handle something that?
All right, that's great. I got to put my attorney hat. I got to put my attorney hat on. You did not answer the question.
Let me just say this for anyone who came on. Okay, if you're just tuning in, because they're like, what? If you're just tuning in, you are tuning into the RTV Radio Show. Which stands for Restoring the Village here on the Radio on Fire broadcast. Tonight we are having a great discussion with some amazing women. Again, acknowledging the Women's History Month. Some kind of way it's shifted to parenting. But anyway, we're here, and I just wanted people to know that we are here, and it's a great discussion. Thank you for the comments. Feel free to follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and on the radioonfire.com. Keep the comments going and discussion going.
I just want to say this. We want to hold accountable when adults are not even accountable for their own self. So how can you hold, like I told my son, you know what I mean? My son's 17, he'll be 18 this year. I told him, I said, he just started living back with me. He was living out Frederick, Maryland with his mother. He was having a few struggles, but I was like, I'm coming in, I'm like, yo, you need to do this and the third. And I had to sit back and think, like, how could I expect him to do something if I didn't even give him the tools to even know how to do it? That's like asking a 3-year-old to cook dinner. They looking at you like, I don't even know how to cook.
Adonna, you don't have to put your hand up.
Right, let's go to Adonna. Brother Nance don't want to answer the question. Okay.
So I'm just gonna come straight out and there is no age.
Yeah,
I think I'm gonna answer the age question. There is no age where you hold a child accountable. I think it's more the accountability comes with, okay, let's just take it this way. The Bible says, the word of God says, that to he who much is known, much is required. So I think it's not an age thing. I think it's more of a wisdom thing. I think it's more of a how much do you know? Because if much is not known, then much is not required of you. There are a lot of uneducated children due to failed school systems and inactive parents not being involved in their children's education or the advocacy of those educations. It's so many things that play a part in a child's life that we can't just say, okay, once this child reaches a certain age, we're just going to put all the weight on his or her shoulder and say, you should know better by now. It's like, what?
Let me push back, Adonna. Let me push back. I said, let me push back on your question. On your answer a minute. Let's say that you have a car. Let's say that you have a child that has their license, right?
Yeah.
Let's say that they're 17. They got their license, they're 17.
Mm-hmm.
You let them drive the car. They crash the car. Do you hold them responsible, or do you say, he's just a kid, I didn't teach him how to drive that good? Or, I mean, like,
I
like
mean,
what?
if I drive my car and crash my car, my insurance is going to take care of it, and I'm going to drive better next time.
No, I said
Thank
it's
God
a
for my
child.
life, and let's keep it pushing. But accidents happen. I mean,
Yeah,
that's why
so we
that's
good.
why they have science and Kirk and all of these other.
Look,
Listen.
Okay.
Do we blame the child who crashed the car or the parent who gave them the keys? Like, I mean,
Well, this is what I thought. This is what I was trying to get y'all to say, and this is what I think that the question is that okay, we can give our children everything. Let's say we can give them all the knowledge, all of the experience that we've had, and then they can go out in the world and choose to do something else because they got free will to do what they want to do. Now, if you gave the child the knowledge and the wisdom, and then they did something else, because we got a lot of people that was on the right path. They come from a 2-parent household, everything was lovely, and they still wanted the hustle in the streets, even though they didn't have to, but they wanted to. The streets was calling them, and they made their choice. My thing is that I don't think enough. And yes, before Brother Nance comes in and says, different things about the parents in the past, if we talk about a specific child or children, everybody got their own free will. Whether you got the knowledge or not, you make your decision. And at a certain point, you should be accountable for your decision, whether you had the knowledge or not.
I don't know about that. And
go ahead.
I'm not agree with what you did last part of the statement, but I do understand where you're coming from because yes, we do have to hold our young people accountable for their actions. I totally agree. However, we do also have to take in consideration what happened with these children because there is a hard and a long and a deep amount of trauma that has been suffered by our children in our community specifically. There was an 8-year-old boy. Okay, there was a 10-year-old baby girl who just got out of the hospital this morning because she was shot in her back by mistake, caught in a crossfire in a shootout in her community. So who's going to be held accountable for that? And so that's trauma that baby is going to have to work through. Her mom is going to have to work through. Her family is going to have to work through. And her whole community is going to have to work through. It's not going to take 1 day or 2 days or 3 days. We can't say, oh, this child is 13 or this child is 14. But how much trauma has this child suffered in his community?
Now, my thing is, how much trauma did they suffer and no one spoke to them about it? Let's talk about that. Let's talk about all the kids that got to get sick with the trauma and no one allows them to even speak about it. You know what I mean?
And that's what Brooklyn.
No one is even listening to their trauma.
Yeah, and that's what Brooklyn mentioned at the walk, and I really appreciated just to listen. Listen to us. And I think it goes both ways. Like my daughter, she's 21, my oldest, and we were just talking about how we need to listen to one another. Not just so much I'm the parent, you listen to me. But it needs to be both ways. And again, Brooklyn mentioned that in her speech about the parents listening and taking that time. So just for the sake of time, I'm gonna let Brooklyn kind of wrap up her what she had to say, and then I wanted to go into something else because we're getting to the hour. Go ahead. She had her little hand up and everything.
My bad, Brooklyn, yo. My bad, yo.
Well, if you can do it in like a minute or two, I'm gonna give you this moment.
Okay, no disrespect to anybody on the show at all. You guys cannot speak on the youth. Like, I know what's going on. Okay. All right. Just because you don't have 2 parents in your life, okay. All right, say like he said, we're in a situation where you got both parents in your life, they taught you what you need to know. Okay, it's not just that. You gotta still realize it's social media.
Right. Yes. It's a whole different wave.
Brother Nance.
It's not just parents. You still got social media. Everybody want to live up to this image. Everyone wants to live up to this image. So it's like, it's not just you got 2 parents. He had 2 parents in his life who took care of him. He should have been good. No, it's not just that. You gotta realize you still got adversity. You still got social media. So it's way more than just having 2 parents in your life. You think you want to be good. It's not just
That's
this. You
true.
gotta realize you're gonna have friends who might not be on the same level of thinking as you, who want to do all that negative stuff. It's not just about the two
So
right.
peer pressure.
It's yes, it's a lot of peer pressure. Everyone wants to live up to this image that they're really not. That's why half of the generation is dying, because everyone wants to live up to an image.
Talk about it.
Yeah,
So
that's
Yeah,
definitely
and you can't.
piggybacking really quickly, piggybacking on what Brooklyn said, it's a community, and I'm gonna keep saying it. It's a community issue. It's not a family issue. It's not just the household. Yes, it begins as a household, but like Brooklyn said, these young people have friends. So if the whole community is not on board with raising our children, and the whole community is not on board with being held accountable, then there's cracks and crevices in the village.
I agree. Well, ladies, this is why Women Helping to Empower Women is launched. It is very much needed to have these conversations in the community, and to make sure that we can grab that generation. I won't even say that's lost. I would just say generation that needs to have guidance and have that model, that role model. So I'm encouraging anyone and everybody to support this movement. WHE!W. Again, is Women Helping to Empower Women. They just had a women's walk this past Saturday that was phenomenal, energy-wise, and now the work is going to continue. I'll make sure I support. If there's anything I could do, coming back on the show, whatever you need to do, we want to make sure that we are a community. And I always tell people, it's certain things that I say that we don't always agree, and we may not agree, but sometime after having a discussion, that's when you understand or realize, oh yeah, I missed that part. And that's where it's not like this radio show and organization it takes a village. It's restoring the village. And so, right. Yes, we may not get it, one time, a second time. We want to make sure that we listen to our youth, and the youth are listening to us, and that we are listening to one another. So I'm appreciative to have Adonna Black here, as well as Brooklyn Neverdon. And the only reason first of all, we're wrapping up because it is time, but I also wanted to give Adonna that moment just to continue to speak about, and I guess in the 2 minutes, if you can just speak about Women Helping to Empower Women, because that's really what we wanted to highlight. If you can just let people know what they can expect, your next event, how they can get involved. And then, because Brother Nance already put you out in the beginning, maybe you can, leave us with something.
I say this, Brooklyn, I would love for you to come back on the show, as you're building your entrepreneurial endeavors, so we can highlight you and other young people that you're working with. Because that's what this show is about, restoring the village. You know what I mean? Like, we spend so much time talking about the problems. Like, let's spend more time spoken on the solutions. You know what I mean? So, like I told you from the beginning, I love your dad. You know what I mean? Like, that's my guy. You know what I mean? Like, and he does it the right way. You know what I mean? So to see his extension, speaking with power, purpose, and passion, you know what I mean? It's needed. So it's not about us judging or pointing fingers or what generation is different, because you're right. Like I said, y'all guys are dealing with traumas I ain't had to deal with. I had to deal with social media, and I had to deal with all that. Some people are depressed just because nobody didn't like their posts. Like, who cares? In my world, I don't care. But in your world, it's the end of the world. You understand what I mean? But in my world, I don't care. So I thank you for bringing that up. But I would love to just have a panel of young people. We can come back and really dig deeper into this conversation, because, like you said, and like my nephew just texted me and said, I'm listening to the joint, and he said Brooklyn was right. Like, none of y'all adults, nobody was right or wrong, but we can't relate to them. You know what I mean? It's a different level. So we need to really hear them and listen to them, not listening to respond, but listening to absorb, so how we can know how to build with them. How bad, Angie? I just want to say.
And again, I was gonna say, as I spoke, this is what WHE!W is going. I foresee being supportive to help and narrate that. No offense to Brother Nance or Diamond K, but the women has always been, there, that nurturing, that guidance. We may not know everything, but you can always, down to my grandmothers, down to even what I'm doing, and I'm doing is not just in my household, but in the community. I got so many babies out here that I'm making sure that I'm supporting different sisters out here, that I'm making sure that I'm supporting, because we have to be there for one another. And again, Adonna, I just want to throw it to you. Again, if you can give 2 minutes to talk about, the next things, steps, or how people can get involved with women helping to empower women.
Okay, yes. So you can reach out to myself, inbox me on Facebook, Adonna Black. Inbox me if you're interested, and send me your email address, or you can email me at Adonna Black, the number 7. That's ADONNA BLACK, the number 7 at gmail.com. We are putting together some things as we speak. There will be plenty of opportunities for the young people to join. If there are other young ladies out there who are listening and want to be a part of the WHE movement in Brooklyn's age group, Brooklyn will be heading up workshops for young ladies her age. She will be speaking to the young ladies. We have some platforms that we're going to be doing, some forums that we're going to be having moving forward, where we're going to talk. Ladies, we got to talk. Women, we have to talk. We have to get into some real conversations and some real problem solving, because we have talked about the problem long enough. It is time to do something. So let's get to work.
Yes. And I'm ready. I'm ready for the work.
So, wait a minute. What is going on with my camera?
I don't know. Go ahead. Keep going. This all virtual.
Right? Hello?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Okay.
I can hear you.
So we're going to get what's rightfully mine and not what's left. Aim for the true best and nothing less. So I'm going to try to be wise and pace my steps. Stay loyal to the path and don't waste my breath. Because life's too short and the wait's too long. My patience is taut and my face too strong. I gotta keep it moving, take it to the next plane. Keep my mind on shine, cause the grind's insane. But I got this, man. I ain't tripping on the small stuff. I'ma keep it brewing, showing, proving why they all bluff. Enough's enough, your time is up. You done drank it up, now pass the cup. Cause the table is set and the dinner bell's ringing. About to get a taste of what the new harvest is bringing. I was saying grace, y'all was laughing and mingling. Listen real close, you hear that fat lady singing. Here we come. Woo, here we come. Here we come.
Oh, yeah. Here we come.
Hey, yo, Adonna the GOAT, shorty, rap better than these brothers out here. Like, yo, her pen been lethal. And what I always liked about Adonna, man, like she always kept class with her joint, because she actually come up in the era, you know what I mean? There was a lot of women selling themselves to get on, you know what I mean? And she always stood in class, integrity, and power. And that's why she's always been my sister. And that's why I always respect her. And that's why we honoring women. You know what I mean? Let's honor her for, you know what I mean, for how she moved in an industry that's not kind to most women, and can still continue to spread her gift and her love to empower the next generation. So I just want to salute you, sister, on International Women's Day, on Restoring the Village Radio. You know, we appreciate you. Thank you for coming on, and peace and power. You know what I mean?
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you, Angie. Thank you, Nance. Thank you, Brooklyn. You know we're gonna be in touch. I've been running her down. So like I know the platform that I have is gonna be hers. So it's not a problem. We're moving.
Thank you.
It's about.
Yeah, and so appreciative to have our youth to be involved, and we just want everyone to know that like you have a part. You have a part in this, you know, and I always say it's like a puzzle, and we're all a piece of that puzzle to make it whole. And no one knows more than the next, but we do have to make sure that we listen to one another. And I think, you know, what you're building is going to be good, you know, and having her involved will be tremendous. So thank you so much. I don't see her on here now, but we did go over 5 minutes. So I do want to say thank you again, Adonna and Brooklyn, for coming on as our guest. You know, you will continue to have a place. If you know, have another event, please put it out there and we'll, you know, share it. And we'll be a part of that. We'll be a partner and part of your village.
We're planning something for April.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So give me the information.
Even if y'all can't come on the show and you need us to advertise it, we'll advertise it on the show. Like we're running as a ticker on the bottom, or
and we do have sponsorship opportunities, so we can share all of that with you as well. So again, thank you, Adonna Black and Brooklyn Neverdon, for being our guests. They were organizers of W.H.E.W, which stands for Women Helping to Empower Women. If you've missed this show, just coming on and we're getting ready to go, please make sure you go to the radioonfire.com page, and you can see, well, it's on the screen. You can see all of our past shows, and you can also join us as a special guest. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I'll let Brother Nance put us out with his little powerful words.
You know, we don't have good days. We create them. We create the life we want to spread our energy, love, light, and power, and peace to the world. Remember, you know what I mean? We don't work in silos. We only thrive when we work in tribes. So peace and power, y'all. Love y'all.
All right. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you for tuning in.